So yesterday I handed you a hair. You had a real profound experience with it. I won't go into all the details because I explained it on your, what's the guy's name, Clyde's show.
So you did?
Yeah, so that's on video, it's on record. And he definitely knew you.
Yeah.
He vouched for you and the slag. Going back to that though,
Yes.
is that Moray Island? The Moray
Yes,
Island incident? Okay. And so you found pieces of the slag, you found pieces of the plane, you directed people to what?
So, in that experience, Clyde had me on the radio show 2 weeks prior to an investigation that they were going to do, trying to find the location where the plane had gone down after
Right.
picking up the evidence.
Okay.
And so on the show, I started sketching, and I don't usually sketch. And I sketched a map and didn't know why. I was being told where to
Right.
put things and locate things, and was doing readings for like 4 hours. So I was exhausted, but I was drawing. And 2 weeks later, we end up at a location, and we are out trying to find this area where the plane went down. And they stopped at an area, and they're like, "This is where it went down." And I said, "This is definitely not where it went down. Like, it went
Right.
down over here." And we found it. It was awesome. And I got to touch the plane that went down.
Okay.
And be able to do a reading based on touching the item. I was able to see
Right.
where it went down, what happened.
And this is why Clyde vouched for you. So he said, like, yeah, she's the real deal. I watched this event happen. So he's willing to talk to me at that point once I mentioned your name. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Plus, I had your little card.
Yay.
Anyway, so any new information on the hair sample that you felt yesterday, and kind of explain to people that you were a skeptic, what happened at the bar, and
So even though I'm a world-renowned psychic medium, I'm somebody who's been in the paranormal field for many, many, many years. There's certain shit that I don't buy. And one thing that I just was like, okay, I get it. Like, I get people are into the Bigfoot thing. Isn't that fun? But
Right.
I just was like, not even interested, not into it. And when I met you yesterday, it was kind of like touching that hair and being able to see what I saw and experience what I did. I couldn't question it. I couldn't
Right.
question that this entity, that's what I'm going to say, this being exists.
right.
And it kind of freaked me out. And it's still kind of freaking me out.
So you said the scary part was you didn't understand the dense part. What do you think that meant? We talked about the physicality of it, the largeness of the physicality. Is that what you think it was, the denseness, or is there something? No, I'm off.
Yeah, it's more like I was trying to explain, like ice, how ice is dense. Like, there's a denseness to ice, yet when ice is boiled, it turns into steam.
Yeah.
And so to me, they felt like something that could absolutely be dense, and then they could also turn into steam. So that's what I mean by the denseness. It's like their energy can turn into more of a dense form, but then also shift, believe it or not, into more of a
Yeah.
energy field. So that mist being energy in motion, and they can see, feel, hear, and
What's the connection with the Fae? Is there a connection?
I feel like there is. I feel like there's somewhat a connection, because when I have felt the Fae, there's an experience. When you feel the Fae, they have an energy. And to me, this energy is, the heart rate is very fast. The way they think is a little bit the same.
Yeah.
Not as mean, but more, like I said, more like they're on a mission, like they have something they have to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my relationship with the female that we cast,
Yes.
you still feel strongly like this was a female?
Yes, I do.
And there's no animosity towards me for fucking with the
No,
earth, or
I don't feel like
Okay.
it. At least when I tapped into her energy, which again isn't like human energy yet. If I tapped into the, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I tapped into the Dalai Lama, that energy, that high frequency vibration, I can't even believe I'm freaking saying this. It almost feels the same. It's like this, just this essence, this old essence, this old, almost like,
you're picking up on it right now, aren't
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
almost like an ancient being, but ascended.
So the Dalai Lama is a holy man.
He is. To me, he's very much a holy man.
Okay. Is this a holy entity?
I wouldn't, I'd want to sit on that more before I could touch that. But I can tell you that to me, the essence feels very, very much so that frequency. I don't know, you get around people like down here and you get around people that are more your frequency. It's odd because you can kind of explain it. It's this frequency. It's this thing that we have, it's like this frequency.
Right.
And theirs is much higher frequency. It's not as high as the angelic realm. It doesn't feel anything like those on the other side.
Right.
I've been doing that forever. It feels more, it doesn't feel like, it has a taste of like alienness, but not aliens.
Yeah.
And it still blows me away.
Any connection to the Greys? Because a lot of times people explain that they see them during abduction experiences on the craft, or that they're a slave being to the UFO phenomena.
Really?
Yes.
They never said any, because it's just not, I was like, it's not real, so why would I study it? It's not real, so why would I watch documentaries? I mean, I know amazing people in the field, and I love them.
Right.
It's just not my
I'm
thing.
just telling you what other witnesses have said, and I've had a hard time validating except through witnesses. But when you put your finger on there, you mentioned this, I said burden or yoke or some kind of penance. I don't know. Is this possibly connected to this worker bee element that they're connected with the
That's
gray?
interesting because that's what it feels like. I don't know if it's gray, but I can tell you that it feels like a worker bee. It feels more like that. Exactly. That's exactly. I don't think I said that, but that's exactly what I would say. Is almost like trying to find this. I can see it in the mountain. I can't tell you what it is because I'm not close enough to it. So if I was close enough to a mountain, I'd be able to say, this is what they're mining, this is what they're getting, this is what they're doing. But I can't tell you what that is.
Right.
I can just feel like they need it. She's not showing me what they do. And I'm really careful with entities. I don't push them. So what she's not sharing, if she's not sharing, I'm not poking. Just there's certain things that sometimes I'm not. So for me, it just feels like the essence of having to, or almost like a burden to have to work. But I don't feel enslaved.
What would the work be? What is the work?
I don't know.
Or would we call it work? What is the mission?
Yeah.
What is the, it's no longer if they are, it's why they are.
Right.
So the why is really what I'm curious about. Why? Why all this trickery? Why? I mean, it's the same with the Fae, though, right? I mean,
yes, very much so. Where it's, a dear friend of mine, always said, they wear the mask that they want us to see.
Right.
And I think there's something to that. But it is interesting how in the field, a lot of people will find UFO, Bigfoot, and ghosts all in the same area. And the question then becomes, well, why? Why? What's there? And if they all of these energies work on energy, they can only manifest with energy. They have to use energy, some type of energy that helps them manifest. Then,
what about a name? Is there a name associated with individuals? Do they have individual names? Because we've been told along the way that they do have individual names. Are there names associated with them? And does this one have any hint of a name, even a letter or a shortness or a longness, a feeling behind the name, power, or a social ranking? Is this up in the food chain? You said it was scared. She was scared.
She was scared when it happened.
Yeah.
I feel like her heart rate, the way she was breathing, and the way she was reaching out for others like her. She was reaching out in her mind and calling out to them to see which way, which is weird because it's almost like they see like bats to me. They almost see like they can throw their voice, they can use the echo.
Yeah.
And so when you ask me if this entity has a name or this energy has a name, to me, the way it feels is that they're all one. So I don't know if that I
Okay.
would I mean, at this point, I don't know that I would energetically separate her from the one.
Okay. Because of the hive mentality of communication and living. Okay. But there seems to be outcasts too. We hear about rogue Sasquatch outcasts that have been, pushed aside from a clan group or something like that. Does that seem right? Because there is a sense of free will involved with them, and we touched on ego, but I don't think you attached that to them. You just mentioned it as being a part of the conversation.
Yeah, it's almost as if they, with the way they connect, is
Yeah.
beyond us. So they know that. They know
Okay.
that it's beyond us almost. To me, it's what it feels like. It's this understanding that they're beyond us.
Okay. I'm going to put this in your hand because I was asked to. Okay. So, if you could tell me more about that at all, and whatever's coming off it, just kind of lay it out there, if anything at all, maybe nothing.
It's weird. It's based on a belief system. Something that was found in a writing on the wall. Almost like a writing on the wall. A form of communication. Mud. Red mud. Like
Oh.
clay.
Keep going. Sorry.
It's okay. There's a bunch of little. There's little ones. I can see a bunch of little ones in this area where they went. It's weird. It's almost like an place of education, which makes no sense. This is so weird to me. I'm not gonna lie, this is freaking my shit out. Let's see. We were called to come back. Why? That's it. We were called to come back.
Have you ever seen an image like that before? Are you familiar at all with the significance of the hand or traditions associated? I don't know if you know.
Been to
any-
Ireland
yeah.
a few times, and I know that Celtic nodding
Yeah,
means,
right.
You know,
Okay.
circle usually means a way in.
Yeah. What about an individual that may be attached to that? Is there any individual you can sense off that? Because that was, that's a gift.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe you could find out more about an individual this was attached to, if you can, if you can't.
The person that teaches?